Hi, John. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Emma. Thanks. I always drink a big cup of coffee in the morning to start my day.
Me too. I usually have tea. What time do you generally wake up?
I wake up around 6:30 a.m. every day. What about you?
Oh, I often wake up a little later, maybe 7 a.m. After that, I always check my emails. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Speaking School podcast.
We're so happy you're here to learn English with us today.
Today, we're going to talk about something we all do, our daily routines, from when you wake up until you go to bed.
Yes, talking about your routine is very useful for describing your day and understanding other people's lives.
We will focus on the simple present tense because it's perfect for talking about habits and things that happen regularly.
And we'll also learn important time expressions like in the morning, at night, on weekdays, and useful frequency adverbs like always, usually, sometimes, and never.
So get ready to practice your English and tell us all about your day. Great introduction, John. I always find it interesting to hear about different people's routines. It's so fundamental for daily English conversations.
It truly is. And while we're talking about routines, we have a little request for you, our wonderful listeners.
Yes, if you regularly enjoy our podcast, please take a moment to subscribe. We often release new episodes every week, so you won't miss anything important for your English learning.
And liking our episodes and sharing them with friends who are learning English really helps us grow. We want to reach more learners every day.
Thanks for that, John, and thank you, listeners, for supporting us. Now, let's really dive into daily routines. This topic is super important because it helps you tell people about yourself and understand others. It's often the first thing you talk about when meeting someone new or just making small talk.
That's right, Emma. And it's excellent practice for the simple present tense. When you talk about what you do every day, you'll naturally use phrases like, I go to work, or she eats lunch at noon. These are common verbs in the simple present, perfect for A1-A2 learners. I definitely experienced this, Emma. I remember once I tried to organize a morning run with a new friend. I said, let's run in the morning, but I didn't say what time. I usually run at 6 a.m., but my friend always sleeps until 8 a.m. on weekends. We had completely different ideas of morning. We needed to use specific times, like at 6 a.m. or after 8 a.m. to make a plan. It taught me that sharing your routine helps avoid confusion.
That's a perfect example, John, of why being clear about routines is so important. Now, let's look at how we can do that. For our first activity, let's focus on your morning routine. It's a great place to start.
Excellent idea. When you describe your morning, remember to use the simple present tense for regular actions. For example, I eat breakfast, or she reads the newspaper. Notice the S for he, she, or it.
Yes, that S ending is important for the third person singular. And don't forget our time expressions. You can say, I wake up at 7 a.m., or I drink coffee in the morning. Where do you usually put those time expressions?
Good question. We often put them at the end of the sentence, like, I go to work at 8 o'clock. Or sometimes we put them at the beginning for emphasis. Every morning, I make my bed. Let's try it. Emma, what do you usually do first thing in the morning after waking up?
After waking up, I usually stretch for 10 minutes. It really helps me wake up.
That's a nice start. So your morning routine is very structured. But what about your evening routine or weekend routine? Do you always do the same things? This is where frequency adverbs are super helpful.
Exactly. When we talk about actions that aren't every day, frequency adverbs like sometimes, often, or never are perfect. For example, I sometimes watch a movie on Friday night, or I never cook on Sundays. They show how often an action happens, which is different from every morning.
Right. Think about weekdays versus weekends. On weekdays, I always go to work, but on weekends, I never go to the office. Instead, I often visit my family or sometimes just relax at home. It's a great way to describe how your life changes on different days.
John, this is all great, but what if a listener thinks, my routine isn't very exciting? I don't do anything special. What can I say?
That's a super common question, Emma, but every routine is perfect for practice. You don't need a special life, just regular actions. For example, I wake up, I eat breakfast, I go to work. These are great sentences.
Exactly. Don't overthink it. The goal is to use the simple present tense correctly. Even short sentences like, I drink water or I watch TV at night are excellent. You can always add a time expression like, I drink water every morning.
And remember, frequency adverbs are your friends here. If your routine feels simple, just say how often you do things. I usually walk to work. I sometimes listen to music. Simple is perfect for learning, so don't be shy about your routine.
So, John, what do you usually do on Saturdays?
On Saturdays, I always get up early, around 7 a.m. Then I usually go to the gym.
Wow, you're so active. I often sleep late on Saturdays. What about in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, I sometimes visit my sister. We usually have coffee.
That sounds nice. Do you ever watch TV?
Yes, I often watch movies at night, but I never go to bed before 11 p.m.
Did you hear all those great examples? John used always get up, usually go, often sleep late, sometimes visit, and never go to bed.
And don't forget the time expressions like around 7 a.m., in the afternoon, and at night to make everything clear.
So, listeners, you just heard us describe a Saturday routine. John, why did you choose to say I always get up early, but then I usually go to the gym?
Good question, Emma. I used always for waking up because it's a fixed habit for me on Saturdays. Usually, for the gym, shows it happens most Saturdays, but not every single one. It makes my routine sound more real.
Exactly. That's a great point about showing how often something happens. Using always for very regular actions and usually for common but not 100% fixed actions adds important detail. It's not just a list, it's a description of your actual habits.
And you also noticed I used in the afternoon and at night. Why is mixing those time expressions important, Emma?
Mixing time expressions like around 7 a.m., in the afternoon, and at night helps the listener follow your day's timeline. They are like small guides that structure your story. Instead of just saying, I eat lunch, you can say, I eat lunch in the afternoon, which is clearer.
Yes, it helps paint a full picture. The takeaway here for learners is to try using different frequency adverbs. Always, usually, often, sometimes, never, and specific time expressions like at 7 a.m., in the morning, on weekdays, when you talk about your day.
It makes your description much richer and easier for others to understand. Practice describing your weekend like we just did. It's excellent simple present tense practice and a key part of daily English conversation. Good morning, John. Are you ready for work?
Good morning, Emma. Yes, I usually get in early. I always check my emails before 9 a.m.
Oh, really? I often arrive a bit later. I usually have a quick breakfast at home.
I sometimes eat breakfast at the office. What do you do after lunch?
After lunch, I always have a short walk outside. It helps me focus.
That's a good idea. I usually work through lunch, but I sometimes take a break later.
Wow, did you catch those routine words? John said he usually gets in early and always checks emails.
And Emma said she often arrives a bit later and always has a short walk. We also use time expressions like before 9 a.m. and after lunch.
That was another great little role play, John. This time we focused on a work routine, which is often different from a weekend routine, right?
Absolutely. We used some new phrases like get in early or work through lunch. And you saw how we used usually or sometimes for actions that aren't always fixed in a workday. Like, I sometimes eat breakfast at the office because it's not every day.
Exactly. Notice how get in early means the same as arrive early. You can often use different verbs to say similar things. And it really shows how frequency adverbs are key to describing how flexible or rigid your work habits are. I always check emails tells you it's a fixed task.
So, when you talk about your work, think about what you always do, what you usually do, and what you sometimes do. And add those time expressions like before 9 a.m. or after lunch to make it clear.
Okay, John, for our final quick tip today, I want you to listeners to plan their next day in English.
That's a clever idea, Emma. How does that help with routines?
Well, instead of just talking about what you did, try saying what you will do tomorrow using the simple present. For example, tonight say aloud, tomorrow I wake up at 7 a.m. Then I drink coffee.
Oh, I see. You're using the simple present for future plans, which is perfect for A1-A2 learners because it keeps the grammar simple. You can even add frequency adverbs. Tomorrow, I always eat breakfast before I leave.
Exactly. It makes you think about your routine, use those present simple verbs, and practice time expressions like tomorrow morning, in the afternoon, and at night. It's like a mental rehearsal for your English.
So, listeners, your final tip. Tonight, before you sleep, describe your next day's routine to yourself in English. Use simple present tense and the time expressions we talked about today. It's great practice.
And with that great advice, John, we're nearing the end of our episode today. This has been a fantastic conversation about daily routines and how to talk about them in English.
It truly has, Emma. Let's quickly summarize the 3 most important things our listeners should remember from today's discussion.
Absolutely. First, remember to use the simple present tense for your daily routines and habits. Think, I eat breakfast, or she works from home. Don't forget that S for he, she, or it.
Second, make sure to use frequency adverbs like always, usually, often, sometimes, and never. These words show how often you do something and add so much detail to your descriptions.
And third, use time expressions like at 7 a.m., in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, or on weekdays. They make your routine clear and easy for others to follow, giving structure to your day.
Excellent summary, Emma. Now for your quick challenge today, listeners. Before you go to sleep tonight, practice describing your next day's routine in English to yourself.
That's right. Just say, tomorrow I wake up at 6:30 a.m. I always drink coffee. Then I usually walk to work. Use all those simple present verbs, frequency adverbs, and time expressions.
It's a simple, powerful way to reinforce what you've learned, and it will help you feel more confident talking about your day tomorrow.
Thank you so much for joining us on the English Speaking School podcast today. Your commitment to learning English truly inspires us.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember that every small step makes a big difference. We'll be back soon with more tips to help you on your English journey.
Until next time, keep your English routine strong. Goodbye, everyone.